And over 1,000 Starbucks workers are at 65 stores across the country are walking off the job today on the company's annual Red Cup Day. The union representing the workers say that Starbucks failed to address staffing and pay issues, while Starbucks says it's hoping for a reasonable deal. So joining me now is Michelle Eisen. She's been a barista for 15 years and is the spokesperson for Starbucks Workers United. Michelle, thank you for your time today. And I want to start by saying, it's been reported that you've reached a tentative agreement on 33 topics, but the financials and also the staffing and hours have been a sticking point. Why is that, and what are you asking for?
I mean, that's absolutely true. We had some solid 9 months of bargaining with the company back in 2024. The company came to the union and committed to finalizing a fair contract with union workers by the end of 2024. They failed to not only do that, but they also failed to resolve the enormous amount of unfair labor practice charges that are still hanging over their heads. When the union presented the economic portion of our proposals back in October of last year, we presented a slew of options that would ultimately lead to higher take-home pay and fixing the numerous staffing issues within these stores. And the company simply said no and rejected all of them. So the workers were left to deal with nothing or continue to fight. And that's where we are right now.
Can I ask you about specific numbers? A Starbucks representative said that they have on average about $30 per hour in hourly pay and benefits. Now, certainly we've talked and heard from members of your union that report hours that are significantly less and hourly wages that are significantly less than that. But is there a number that you're looking for?
What we're looking for is simply to increase the take-home pay that baristas have. Most Starbucks workers, the starting wage for baristas in most states in the US is actually $15.25 an hour. When Starbucks cites that number of $30 an hour, what they're doing is they're adding up all of their benefits that they potentially offer, and they're saying, we equate this to $30 an hour. That includes something like their Spotify Premium app that they offer to employees. What they don't tell you is that most workers are actually scheduled below the threshold to qualify for these benefits that they wrap into this package. The average Starbucks worker gets about 19 hours a week, which is just below the company set threshold. So they not only control the number of hours that workers get, but then they keep the wages down low as well. So many Starbucks workers have to rely on SNAP and Medicaid to get by. Well, we've got a CEO who made $96 million for the first 4 months of his employment. So these things are just not adding up. What we need is the company to invest in the workers that open and close these shops every single day, that are the face of the company, that bring in these billions of dollars that they report every year in revenue. Workers want a safe workspace. They want to be able to pay their bills, and they want to be able to serve these customers well. And you have to staff a store appropriately to do that. So we're looking for the company to return to the table with new proposals that solve these issues. And we're looking for them to stop their egregious union busting. Starbucks is the number one violator of U.S. labor law in modern history. And this is not debatable. They've been found guilty of violating workers' rights over 400 times, and there are over 700 charges that have yet to be resolved. 125 of those were committed just in 2025 alone.
Well, Michelle, because I want to go back, and this was a point that was actually brought up by someone in a previous show, but a spokesperson mentioned that less than 1% of the coffee houses are experiencing some level of disruption. I know that the number has been reported out to be as high as 4%, but still, it's a relative fraction of these partner stores that are unionized. So with that in mind, I guess what are your leverage points? And I think my follow-up would be, how long are you prepared to strike for?
So Starbucks likes to always report when there's a national strike or action that there's been minimal disruption, but they often put that report out in the early hours on the East Coast when half the country hasn't even woken up yet. What we know is that when stores go on strike, most of them close down within a couple of hours because of staffing issues. In terms of how long we're willing to go and what workers are willing to do, I can tell you that workers are committed to escalating as needed if the company does not come back with some solutions. They are prepared to make this the longest, biggest strike in company history. And in terms of leverage, we know that for every barista who's committed to hold that line, there's a dozen allies and supporters who have vowed to not cross the picket line and not spend money at Starbucks while workers are on strike. That will equate to tens of thousands of people not spending their money at Starbucks during this holiday season. That should be enough to scare Starbucks because workers are absolutely serious, and the people who support those workers are also very serious about not crossing that picket line and not spending money at Starbucks.
I hear you. Well, Michelle, I really appreciate you you coming on and speaking with us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.